It's one of my favorite bag leather goods brands, companies, enterprises, empires. I'm just going to put all those labels on it. Theugi is actually an enterprise of the Urban Growth Initiative, and that is a New York State registered nonprofit organization that's dedicated to essentially funding and advancing programs that are supporting youth in underserved communities. Now, I know you're wondering, what does the handbag have to do with the helping the people? We're going to get to that. Just trust me. But the person I'm about to welcome onto this show is someone who I am very excited about. I try to shout out their bags on a regular basis. And in fact, a significant portion of the bags that I carry come from them, either ones that I have bought, ones that I have received, and I got a whole bunch more. Oh, by the time you all hear this, there'll be a whole bunch more that have been purchased. So there's that. Elena Holtzclaw, it is always a pleasure to have you on the show. Welcome, 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 welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Lurie. Thank you for having me. And thank you for always shouting out Theugi. I really appreciate it.
I mean, y'all impressed, and I'm a sucker for an organization that's trying to help the people, and so I've said a couple of times now that you have a nonprofit function. For people who
Mhm.
are not as familiar with how your organization came to be, give us a sense as to the organization itself, and then how Theugi, the gorgeous, glamorous handbag component, was added.
Okay, well, let's see. The Urban Growth Initiative. Well, how we started uh, is my husband. The Urban Growth Initiative is actually his baby, his non for profit, and he was looking for ways to fundraise for um, for the Urban Growth Initiative. He didn't want to take out any grants. He didn't want to go through, government grants because they have a lot of control over what his mission is for the Urban Growth Initiative. So we started looking at ways to fundraise. We started with Letterman jackets about 10 years ago, working with leather. We did that. Our sons were in high school at the time. And we actually started, we were the vendor for for their high school. We got in touch with a guy we know in Chicago that was very interested in also marketing our leather jackets, Letterman jackets, to high school students there. So he started marketing them there, and it just kind of took off. Um, but Thuji came about. This actually January will be our 6th year in business.
Wow,
We were working with
amazing.
leather. We're looking for, something that people carry every day, and everyone carries a handbag. And also, for my love of handbags, we started designing handbags, and that took off.
Wow.
Um, it's been a great ride. We're having a lot of fun with it. Designing the leather bags, shopping for the leather, shopping for the hardware for the leather. It's just been great. And, it's made sense. Like, my husband Derek, I would really want him to come on just to go over like the non-for-profit part
Yeah,
of our
we should have him
organization.
on. I can't. In
Yeah, I
fact, I
know.
can't believe
He
we
and
haven't
I
had him
told him, I
on.
was like, "Oh, we really need you." Yeah, he had other meetings today, but he's great to explain what his mission is.
Yeah.
Um, he's doing summer programs and after school programs for our youth.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what everyone's talking about today is, Black empowerment. We
Mhm.
see what's going on today is
Mhm.
it's just horrible what's happening, like just how Black power is like literally being taken down right in front of us. We're
Mm.
seeing this in real time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We've seen what's happened with organizations like the Fearless Fund.
Right. Yep.
The women there that that they're venture capitalists, and their whole goal is to help businesses like my business.
Right. Yep.
So we're seeing this, and what we're doing, we want to get it out there that our youth, they're our driving force, is what Derek believes. I believe
Yeah.
it as well.
Yeah.
They're the driving force. If we teach them how to be independent, how to work together, how to build together, we can change things here.
Yeah.
But it takes us as a community to work together and to support each other in business.
Yeah.
So pretty much his program is helping young people start businesses, start trades.
Wow.
Yeah, to so that we're just totally self-sufficient.
Oh
Okay,
my
we don't have to
gosh.
rely on the forces that be that's out there.
Right. Right.
So,
Oh
yeah,
my
so,
goodness.
while we're doing this, we're seeing what's happening. We're seeing how we're being stripped of, just access to boardrooms and contracts, even government contracts. Like they're
Yep.
taking all that down. So we're going to have to depend on ourselves.
Mm.
We're going to have to set up our own systems. We're going to have to be able to just support each other. I know that, you know, um, Black Wall Streets, we've had a ton of Black Wall Streets, right? And what happens? They get taken down. They
Yep.
get, because they don't want to see us succeed and to be unified and with our purchasing power
Right.
because we have the purchasing power. We spend trillions of dollars and we see all of this. What's happening? So with Theugi, the other thing with Theugi is we were looking at um, all the designer handbag companies and the prices of the designer handbags. And listen, it shouldn't cost that much.
Right.
It really
Right.
shouldn't. We know
It's
what things cost. We know what good leather is.
right.
We know we deal with it. We feel it. We touch it. You all of that. So we know that um, blacks, we love a good quality handbag,
Indeed. Facts. Indeed.
right? We're into brands,
Also
right?
true.
Right. We're into brand names. So why are we giving our money to people that don't respect us?
Hmm. And this
Why?
is the part to me that makes I thought about you actually a couple of months ago when there were all of these videos going on up on Twitter and all these other social media platforms of African leather goods workers. These were people who were at some point they were touching the leather before it got to the name brands that were going to slap labels on it. And they
Mm-hmm.
that's when I learned that like Nigerian leather, apparently
Mm-hmm.
it's where all the Italians are going to get their leather. All the
Yes.
Italian handbags
Yes.
are made with Nigerian leather. And that was
Yeah.
the first time that I realized just how black and by black I mean Pan African the handbag industry is. So when you're getting a
Yeah.
Louis, when you're getting a Gucci, when you're getting all these bags, these are coming from African leather. I don't know if we call them farms, factories, but it's not until they get to their European destination and get the hardware put on there that that's when
Right.
you find somebody who wasn't us a part of that chain. But it's
Right.
our leather, and by I'm saying our because I include Africans exclusively. Like that's
Right.
our leather. Those are our skills. Those are our levels of expertise.
Yes.
And so I remember the first time that you and I met on these airwaves. And I was like, oh, black people do leather, which was real. And I didn't say that out loud, but in my mind, I was like, oh, I didn't know that. That was a real point of ignorance
Mm-hmm.
in my behalf, not knowing and sort of just believing at face value the things that we're taught. But this is an industry that we don't just know, we own in ways that
Yes,
don't
we
necessarily
do.
show up in ownership, but there is no leather goods bag industry without African black people, African descendant
Yes.
hands touching it. I mean, am I wrong about that? Because I could be wrong. I said I was
Oh,
going to ask you,
no.
but next
Listen,
time
they
it's on.
have all the tanneries that can make any color
Right,
leather.
right.
Yeah, not just African, but also Pakistanians. They have a lot of
Mm,
leather too, so it's people of color that are actually producing all of these things. And like you said, when they get to Caucasian people, they're the ones that, that slap that price tag on it, that do what they
right.
do and slap the price tag on it. So, that's kind of how we came into like leather bags. There's a market for it. Everyone carries a bag.
Right,
Everyone carries a wallet. So we were
right.
like, why not? We thought that would be like the fastest way to kind of raise funds for the Urban Growth Initiative.
Wow.
And it's coming along. We're not there yet, but we're just, it's we're out there now. And I think more and more people every day are hearing about us,
Mm,
so, it's a good thing, but we got to keep our money in our community. We
that's
really
right.
do.
That's right.
It's people just don't respect us. They don't. And, I just see it every day, and we see it we're seeing it with this administration, how they're just tearing down everything, like all of the Black progress, everything
Mm,
that we've done, like over the last, I guess, 10, 15 years, um, is just being stripped away from us. So, it's up to us to build these businesses, to show our youth how to build these businesses, how to support each other, how to be self sufficient, how to sustain these businesses is so
mm,
important. So,
mm.
that's what our mission is.
You know what? One of the other things that I think is happening is that as a result of and I'm going to frame it slightly differently from the way that you framed it, but I understand exactly what you're saying, and I'm in agreement. This idea that they're destroying what elements of Black power they think they run. Right, they're
Yeah.
they're destroying the diversity, equity, and inclusion. They're
Right.
destroying the affirmative action programs. But
Mm-hmm.
diversity, equity, and inclusion and affirmative action programs, those weren't about Black people. That was about white people. That was about
Mm-hmm.
convincing white people that they were no longer going to have a choice. We have to integrate. That's all it was. Like it's going to happen. And
Right.
so I think that while this is happening, it is also creating a situation where we as Black people in particular are looking around like, oh, y'all really don't want to. Oh, y'all don't like us. You really
Right.
don't like
You
us.
really don't.
No, I don't like you. Who wants to sit in your unseasoned meal, Susan? I want to go over here where I'm
Mm-hmm.
valued. And I feel like in some ways, if you've ever, had a friend who had a really bad breakup and they're going through it, they're like exhausted, they're not sleeping well, they're pining after this one, they love this one so much, and then all of a sudden like something happens and they realize what a jerk of a person they were with anyway, and they're like, oh my god, I can't believe I can't believe I was ever with you, like ew. Like there's a
Right.
certain point that comes after a bad breakup where you're finally separated from a person who was a horrible human being, and while you may love and have tears, and at a certain point, if you're healing, you go through a phase where you're like, I can't believe I ever thought you were valuable. And it feels like, Elena, in some ways, that's what's happening with us culturally. And
Mm-hmm.
so now, even my youngest, who she's a fashionista, but even she is like, oh no, that brand doesn't like Black people. I don't want that.
Right.
And she's 12
Right.
now. Obviously, she lives in my
Right.
house, so she's going to have this sort of influence. But there's a cultural a shifting in the appetite that I think is happening. Now, I remember
Absolutely.
when I was in law school, or after I just finished law school and I was in corporate America, I was making good white people money, like making tons and tons and tons of money. And I remember that was the first point because I had grown up fairly opposite of that. Did not have a whole lot of resources coming up, and I'm the oldest child, so I remember all the poverty that my younger
Mm-hmm.
siblings no longer like to remember. But I remember at that point in my career finally being in a position where I could buy one of those bags, one of the bags that
Mm-hmm.
is made throughout the entirety of Africa, made in Pakistan, and then you put a European label on it. And
Mm-hmm.
Elena, I will never forget the feeling when I looked, because I had never looked at what these bags actually cost because it was never even a consideration for me. If anything, I would have
Mm-hmm.
looked at what like a counterfeit cost, but because I knew that I did not know enough about what a real thing looked like, I never wanted to be one of those people who was caught with a counterfeit and didn't know how to respond. There's actually this
Mm-hmm.
great show on Netflix called Bad Influencer that's all about counterfeit products and it takes place
Oh
in
yeah,
South
I've
Africa.
seen that.
It's
That's a
so
good. That
good.
was a
It's
good one.
so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
But I've never worn counterfeit because I'm like, well, how do I know what elements of the authentic are here and what elements of the, like, if I know what an authentic bag looks like, and here I am
Mm-hmm.
in corporate America trying to pass off this fake bag, then people in my now environment were going to be able to know that it was a fake. So I never wanted to do it. But when I saw how much one of the real bags cost, even though I had the money, I don't know if it was the poor Black girl spirit in me. I was like, are you out your damn
I
mind? Like
know.
that.
I was never into the designer bags like that. Like
I
I've
just
like
couldn't
I
justify like spending
yeah,
more than
it's
my mortgage on this bag. I couldn't do it.
right, right. And
Ah,
you'll be surprised how many of them aren't actually leather. They're plastic.
oh,
That's what gets me. Like
oh
I
my
know.
gosh.
And you can and they don't last. Like,
Right,
like they start to fade and peel and all
right,
of that,
right.
So yeah. So yeah, it's important for us to build our own.
And to build an appetite for it, right? So like I
Yes.
feel like if we as the adults who have young people are cultivating an appetite for certain things, like I know that now my daughter is more drawn to the types of clothes that I wear, this sort of color palettes that I wear, and she, she definitely has her own style, but she's drawn to it. When she sees
Yeah.
what I find valuable, then she wants it valuable. Now she has seen that I have a lot of your bags.
Mm-hmm.
My child is trying to carry your bags on her little I'm gonna lose it
Oh.
shoulder. And I'm like, no, 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 no. This is mommy's. This is special. These are mommy's. But she knows that she knows the story of the brand because I've talked about you all at the dinner table. She understands like what's in it. And so for her, it has birthed a desire to not
Mm-hmm.
only have one of your bags, but to see it as more valuable than the sorts of bags that her peers are being trained to value. How much
Right.
of our ability to support each other and sustain each other, as you pointed out earlier, because as Dr. Professor Coretha Mitchell always says, our success in those Black Wall Streets, that's what beckoned the mob. Like us doing well is what made the people who wanted to destroy the Black Wall Streets come and do that. What
Right.
do you think our role is in this moment? We've been kicked out of workplaces. These folks have indicated they don't like us. They don't want to sit with us. They're terrible human beings right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You
What
know,
should we, the consumer, be doing to shift our appetite so that when this is all over, no one even thinks about spending money on a brand that's not one of ours?
right. Yeah, it's just education. Educating our youth on what's out there. And like your daughter, like who likes us? Who wants to support us? Um who respects us as a people,
Mm.
who wants to see us succeed. Like, all of that is important. Um, but like I said, I think it's seriously going to start with our youth.
Mm.
And I told you, like, our most of the people that purchase our bags are not young people because young people aren't there yet.
Right.
It's like our age group,
Yep.
people, late 30s, 40s,
Yep.
50s, I see that are purchasing Theugi and can appreciate, our mission and where we're going with it. But yeah, it's gonna take us it's gonna take uh Black unity, not just with purchasing handbags.
Mm.
It's going to take that with all businesses going across all, like, the issue is there aren't enough people like me that are starting businesses and making handbags or stuff that Black people love. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Like,
Right.
in our communities, we have everyone selling to us.
Yep.
And I what did I hear? Like 3% of businesses in our community are Black. 3%. That's
Wow.
nothing. That's nothing.
That's
So
not even
yeah, we're gonna have
tithes.
to. Yeah, um, Derek likes to say that our people, we need to be reprogrammed. It's a whole reprogramming.
Yeah.
Um, on that. So and that's all part of his program, which I
Mm.
said you need to have him on so he can break it
I
down to
yes,
you.
and
Yeah.
Jonah, Amina, somebody take this down. We need Derek,
Yeah.
Mr. Theugi. We
Yeah,
need Mr.
right.
Theugi
Right.
on these
Yeah,
airwaves.
but yeah, our dollars, they need to circulate in our community. They really
But you all
do.
are doing both. You're working on the mentality of the young people while you're
Yes.
providing a product. I feel like, and I don't know Mr. Derek, but I feel like y'all are modeling for us what this looks like. I remember the first time you came on, I said something to you along the lines of, "Well, aren't y'all gonna get grants? Like you got a whole nonprofit, you don't want no grant money." And now look
Right.
at us, Elena, in a time
Yeah,
when philanthropy has dried up. Don't nobody want to donate to our organizations.
exactly.
And you all have a model that is going to allow you to weather some storms. Not to say that it's perfect. I know, everyone's
Hmm.
scrimping and scrunching right now and trying to save, but you all really
Hmm.
are modeling for the rest of us the possibilities here because it is going to matter how we
It
do the
is.
next round of whatever freedom loving work we're going to be doing. It's going to matter a lot that we
It is.
cultivate and bake in independence into that vein. Now, I have a slightly different question for you, and I'm curious because you're in the buying and selling industry. This is a part of what you do. I was recently at a small business Saturday event. It was
Hmm.
lovely, wonderful, predominantly woman led. If there were 50 vendors there, good 28 of them are selling shea butter. Get shea butter, different shades, types of shea butter, different colors of shea butter, different consistencies and smoothnesses of the shea
Yeah,
butter.
and I can appreciate that. I
I
love shea
love the shea
butter.
butter. I love shea butter. But as I'm buying the shea butter, my husband was like, "You got like 50, 11 tubes of shea butter that you have not yet opened." I was like, "I might not open these, but I'm gonna support these black women who are selling this shea butter.
Right,
Like, it's
right,
gonna get used
right.
eventually. Somebody's gonna be ashy, and in a fit of ash, I will burst out with an extra container of shea butter." But
Yes.
it reminded me of something that I often would even see at phenomenal events like the International African Arts Festival, which takes place in Brooklyn every summer. All of these amazing, the BAM Dance Africa Festival, all these amazing Brooklyn festivals where all these vendors will come. And if there's 100 vendors, 30 of them are selling, the African sandal, right? The sort of the hard bomb sandal with the like
Hmm.
the and I'm wondering at what point do we in our people who created trade, like we created trade, we created systems of exchange. At what point do the folks in our community who are making things, who are producing things to sell, at what point does diversification become necessary? Like, at what point have we oversaturated the shea butter market, which is a bit of a pun, I guess? At what point do we need to say, okay, in addition to shea butter, we need somebody who can make computer parts?
Right, right. And see that's the whole idea of the urban groups initiatives
Wow.
mission is to teach. I mean, like everything and anything that's out there that we use, we need to be producing ourselves. We need to insulate our businesses and get broader with it, you know?
Mm,
Um, yeah, I know. You have, just, businesses like you said, like the shea butter business. But there's so many other ones. And I think what we need to do as a people is to tap into like our gifts, our talents, like to seriously do it, because there's so many other things that we can offer. Like we've been stuck in a mindset for so long, to go to school and get that good job and to work and to that. It's like that anymore. We're
right.
gonna have to, and you can start a business. You can start a business, a small business. Like we started small and we're growing from
Right.
there.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, look at all the trades that we need. We need plumbers, we need electricians, we need people that can build our houses,
Right.
so
Right. And then we
yeah,
need people to
it's
build
gonna
plumbing
take
parts. We need people to build electrical wiring parts. I don't
exactly,
want to have to go to these
exactly,
big boxes. I want to go to the black box and buy my plumbing
exactly.
equipment.
Right, right.
Somebody
Yeah.
should coin that, the
And I
black box.
know, it may sound cliche, but we do. We need another Black Wall Street, but we
Yeah.
need, it needs to be more insulated. And people need to
Yes.
get in their mindset that we need to support Black businesses. Black
That's it.
businesses are so important, or we're gonna lose ourselves.
Right.
We are. I mean, we need it.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, can we talk about some of these gorgeous bags you have behind you? I know I
Yeah,
held off as
my
long as I
Theugi
could.
lab.
As long as I could. I was like, I'm salivating at the bags. I didn't want to just start there. I want to have a meaningful, substantive conversation. But now, okay, this bag that you can't see where my cursor is at, but it's sitting off to your right shoulder. It's the cream, dark brown, and light brown with
Oh,
the swirls.
yeah, that's the wavy bag.
The
This one?
wavy bag.
Yeah, my
Yes.
Theugi, the wavy bag. It
That
comes
is
with two straps
beautiful.
and yeah, it's suede and leather. It's pebble leather. This is
Oh.
this brown orangey looking. This is
Mm.
suede
Mm.
and this is leather. Yeah, cream and chocolate brown.
So
Yeah.
brown is my favorite color. I don't care.
Oh, it
I don't
is?
care. It is my
Okay.
favorite color. And so shades of brown, like anything in the
Yeah.
fall color palette is. So when I saw that on your website, I was like, oh my God,
Oh,
it's beautiful. So,
yeah.
so that's in my cart. But
Yeah,
any, oh, and
it
there's
comes with a patch, on the inside, a little
a nice
pocket
wallet. Oh
patch. It
my
comes with
God.
two straps. It's
And
great, and it
then,
takes on different shapes. Like this is what, it's like different shapes that
right.
you can work it.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
gorgeous. It is
Thank you.
gorgeous.
I
And
also
so
have it in red, black, and green.
I see
Fuji.
that.
Yeah, we started out when we first started making bags. It was everything had to be red, black, and green, including our lining.
Y'all so
Like we were
black.
like, okay, yeah. So we were just buying all this red, black, and green leather, and then I was thinking, I was like, African people, we love color. I mean, like every shade of the rainbow. What am I doing? So then, we started, making other colors and bags. But yeah,
I love it. I love
but
it.
we
And then,
still do because, people know us now for red, black, and green leather bags and they
right.
come and look for it.
Right. No, and they're
Yeah.
gorgeous. They're gorgeous. And then
Thank you.
up above on that shoulder, not up on your shoulder, on the shelf, the brown
Yeah.
and the black. See, now I have another black clutch size bag of y'all. I thought about giving that one to my daughter because I'm gonna replace it with this other
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful bag. The brown is the first one I saw, and I was like, oh my God, this is gorgeous. But I feel like the design shape and the three-dimensional I don't know what you call this officially in the handbag world, but you guys, I feel like I'm growing with you because I be on y'all site and I'm like, oh my God, look at that one. That's amazing. So it's been really nice to see your process or to see the evolution of your process. And for
Mhm.
people who are listening, they're like, I want to do bags. I know Lurie said we don't need no more shea butters, but I want to work
Yeah.
with leather goods. And that's not something they're teaching in school, right? How did
Right.
you learn how to work with these materials? How to, now I'm going back to that show, Bad Influencer, like, cause she was a seamstress first. She
Right.
could
Right.
sew already, and then
Yeah.
was able to take those skills and apply it to handbags. How did you get into this industry from the outset?
Well, I don't actually sew. So I just kind of like follow kind of the trends on what I like. Um, and the color that I want to see it in. I do a little bit of sketching.
Huh.
So, I'll do that, but I have a couple of people that sew for me that put
Wow.
it together. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. It's a
Mhm.
whole industry. I love this.
Yeah, it's a whole industry. And it takes a while too to actually complete a bag. It takes me like 6 months. It's a long time. So I'm like just deep into it because where I start with it, it doesn't end up that way.
Mm,
It evolves, you know.
mm,
I'll
mm.
think something, oh, this is gonna be great. And then when I have it sewn and finished, I'm like, I hate this. This, so then I have to kind of start all over. But yeah.
You should give those to us.
Oh
We
yeah, I have so many. Oh my God. Oh my God. You should see like the boxes of, the money
Wow.
that that is spent on it,
Well, I mean,
But
you could donate those though, and because
yeah,
those are now originals, right? Because you didn't do a whole line of them. Those
right,
are
right.
originals. That's one
Yeah,
of a kind. That's its own gift,
yeah,
Elena. I'm not with you on this. I don't like it stuff because I haven't seen it, but I'm sure it's great. I know you don't
yeah.
like it, but you need to give those away. Those are originals. Those are extra special gifts. Extra special.
Extra special, right?
So, what is next for you all in 2026? Now, I just want to preview this because we haven't had a follow up conversation yet, but I know that the last time that Rick Martin was on this show, or actually the last time as of the time of this recording, when
Yes.
Rick Martin was on the show and you called in and we were talking, and Rick was like, and I was telling him, I was like, waxing poetic about how much I love y'all's bags. And I see Rick. Now y'all don't see him on air because obviously it's radio, but I see him do this like Birdman hand rub where he's like, man, he was like licensing. And I was like, that's a great idea. Because as
Yeah.
many of you know, I'm coming out, I have my own brand of items out, the LDF,
Yes.
Lurie Daniel Favors brand. And that was the first time that I had ever considered something like that. And I know we're not discussing it here because we're going to actually have like a real conversation about it. But the idea that organizations, people, community members can collaborate. To me, that was one of
Hmm.
the most beautiful things that come out of that conversation because for so many of us who are trying to get into business, we're either with a product to sell or a service to sell, we don't necessarily think about what the collaborative impact might be. Like, I don't know anything about making handbags. I know I love yours, but
Hmm.
what could happen there? And then when he had introduced that concept, I told him in the chat, I was like, we're going to have a whole segment that talks about licensing and deals and how he's like, of course. So your call actually helped us to have a whole additional part of this curriculum for our Mogul Mondays that we want to take people through. But when it comes to those sorts of collaborative efforts, is that something that more Black businesses should be thinking about? Those sorts of partnerships and collaborations. I mean, I know we all want to run and own
Absolutely.
everything. What would you say to something like that?
Absolutely. Collaboration is key. I mean, you can't do it alone.
Right.
You just can't. And actually, I've been thinking about Rick and I want to get in touch with him because I think we should collaborate. That he has something that can help me with my business, and I'm sure we have something that can help him with his business. So
Mm.
yeah, we have to learn to collaborate. And you know, like, I can be a control freak, because I want it the way I want it. But, we have to let loose, like the reins, we have to let loose, just so that we can, get together and get this done. That's we have to get it done.
Yeah. No, it's
Yeah,
important. It's
it's
important.
important.
And I think I told the audience years ago, and hopefully by the time this actually airs, you, I, and Rick will have had that conversation. So I can't wait to, in 2026, update the people about what those conversations will be. And y'all, Rick, again, amazing partner. Rick Martin of DigiDrop LA, just an amazing partner. He's someone I was introduced to through Karen, so he legit,
Right.
but just really, really has done a lot to help open up my eyes, and I think the eyes of the audience as to what matters when it comes to starting and developing and protecting a profitable business. So I was very excited about that.